Yes.
Let's go.
Although, gonna do a bunch of stuff while we're waiting.
What's the trigger for this? Like a certain amount of screens or a certain amount of time?
I don't know, but I'm gonna be doing like a bunch of stuff because I need to get the ocarina. I'm gonna get the invisible cape. Some other stuff.
I just dropped by. 10 rubies? Get out of here. Are you serious?
We'll give you a big discount. Also, so this next thing is for double MP, but the way that they word it in the English translation sounds like it's a bad thing, and I remember as a kid I was like, I shouldn't have done that. But like, look at how it's worded. My revenge,
Sir?
and then he does this, and then he says, I laugh at your misfortune, now your magic power will drop by one half.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, it just sounds like your magic is less powerful, but it's actually just, when you use magic, it takes half as much.
That's definitely something someone would call the Nintendo tip line and be like, do I have to restart? Yeah, that's not well done. Wow. So in terms of time and everything, obviously we're doing Joe and Mac. You can go with this as long as you want. I do have a couple random Game Boy games we can do, like literally a 15-minute block of just nonsense, just so we have like a short one to put up.
What time is it?
9.
I'll do the next dungeon. That's actually all I really have ready. Anyway.
Sounds good. It'll be like what 9:30, 9:45, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work perfect.
Oh, I don't have the ocarina.
I don't think I could stomach a lot of Joe and Mac anyway.
This is a lot harder without the ocarina.
Why?
Because you can just warp over to where you need to be.
Oh.
But I don't think I can jump down cliffs with this thing following me. I think I'll be fine though. It's just that I can't run and jump down cliffs.
What's in there again?
It's the fork bottle.
That's right.
And you have to go and find the weird thief guy.
It's just funny how, like, you have 3 bottles, right?
I have 2, but the third one's underneath the bridge. I just need to go get it.
Okay. So you have 3 of the bottles are relatively easy to find, and the 4th is, like technically very complicated. Like,
yeah.
this will take you forever to figure out, right? Not only would it be tough enough to find this, but then it's following you and you're like, okay.
Yeah. It's like the key is locked inside the chest. You'll never be able to take it anyway.
Tell it to everyone.
Everybody. Alright, so...
Take his sign.
No, bro.
Doesn't he follow you?
I want to leave that guy alone.
Isn't he like, hey?
The guy that looks like he's wearing a dress.
Da 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 da. I just like Link without a.
Yeah, honestly, considering that I had to do so much stuff.
Isn't that where you get the thing?
I need to be in Dark World first.
Oh.
And I don't have the ocarina, so I have to manually go back and get back in the Dark World.
Rip.
But at this point, I think I can get the sword anyway.
Yeah, I forget if it's timed or what.
I'm gonna check anyway.
I like stuff like this where, like, sometimes every game's different. Sometimes it's time-based and sometimes it's not. So you might be like, I think that it's not time-based for this. I think it's, like, amount of screens,
yeah,
right?
Probably.
So imagine if you're like, alright, I'll just leave it on and I'll go have dinner, and then you come back and you're like, what? It's not ready yet. But then there's others that are absolutely time-based. Funky.
Yeah, in this game, the way that Dark World and Light World transitions works, anyone that plays the game knows, but, like, being in the Dark World is so much more advantageous, because you can just warp back to Light World whenever you want. But the way that the mirror works is that when you're in Light World, you have to go back to your original, like, warp point, and that's the only way to do it.
Or you have to find
portals.
very specific portals, but they're very specific. Hey.
No way. This is
sad.
Another weird item where the shovel in this version is not permanent. Like, once you get the ocarina, it just gets replaced, which I always thought was really weird. And I think the Game Boy Advance version does not permanently replace it.
RIP.
Come on.
Whew, lad. They, like, program the entire, like, they program that shovel in, they program what it looks like, how Link looks when he uses it, and then you use it for, like, one screen. It's like, cool.
There's, like, a mini-game that you use, and that's it. Alright, I'm trying to think of the easiest way to do this.
You go into the one in the bottom left? Dude, why?
Yeah, I don't know. He just wants to hear the ocarina and then he dies. He literally dies.
And then you leave. You're like, nice.
So I'm gonna go to Kakariko. And yeah, we use Kakariko, work back to Light World, get the bird.
And then the bird takes you over, yeah.
And the bird, I'm gonna use that to get the magic cape.
So you have to have the bird. Because the only way into this, it's on the bottom left of the screen, the only way into this place is to go there in the Light World, and you'll fly to a very specific spot. Then you find a portal. That's the only way to get into this spot, because otherwise it is completely quarantined off. So that's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Alright, RNG, the dog. Work for me, buddy.
What do you need?
There's a heart piece in here. Alright, 1.
How many do you get?
You only get 2.
Well, you can do this 20 times, assuming you get, like, no rubies.
Yeah, I don't know what else is in here. It only took me 2 tries. Okay. Yeah. It only took me 2 tries to do it.
I'm sure speedrunners of the 100% version love this. I'm sure they enjoy
I wouldn't be
it.
surprised if there's like a set seed or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Alright.
Well, now you can do it like 35 times.
I don't want to be here for 10 hours.
You can just do it off screen too.
We'll do this like 3 more times, and I'll do it off screen.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh,
Yay! Nice. Pick the other one. Yeah! A single arrow. I just can't believe people can figure that stuff out. It's just so, like, brilliant, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. I've said it before during LPs, but when people are like,
Dude,
yes.
when people when there's nerds that like a hobby, they go in it hard.
Oh my gosh. But sometimes I'm just like, I forget his name, the Mario 64 guy, Parallel Universes. Like, if that dude could put, like, 50% of, like, what he puts into Mario 64, like, into, like, I don't know, like, finding a cure for a disease or something like that, like, he would be a brilliant scientist. Like, and I'm not saying that, like, games obviously aren't worth it or whatever, like, it is a hobby and that's always a good thing, but, like, you know what I mean? It's just, like, you are so brilliant. Is
this a thing?
No, I think you use, whatchamacallit, the mirror up there.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just, like, the way that people figure out this thing, like, oh, we figured out this RNG seed, blah, 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 based on this. It's like, you are so smarter than me. It's unbelievable. And, like, you're just like, oh, I just used it to figure out Ocarina of Time glitches. It's like, oh my god. It's just, like, it's just so funny.
I bet they, like, as a job, like, have some sort of, like, programming job where they actually do stuff. But,
yeah.
like, when they're just, like, at home, they're, they're too weird and specific to, actually do, like, normal things, so they're like, oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, you can just go on the bottom and you'll be fine. Wait. Oh, that's right. You're fine, because...
Yeah, it's fine. The next dungeon is,
I think you have to run at it.
Yes, I know.
Oh, sorry. The Chris Houlihan room. Do you need that?
No, it's completely optional.
It makes you invisible, right?
Yeah, and you can walk over spikes. I think there's like one room with like a bunch of spikes which gives you a heart piece, but I don't know where it is. Alright.
Wow, you actually have most of the items.
So... yeah. Gonna get the bird, transport over to the 5th level, finish it, and...
Do you know what the word is, by the way?
Bird.
The bird is the word.
Is Family Guy still going?
Yeah, dude, it still exists. Seth MacFarlane, like, barely... He's doing a Matt Groening. Like, he barely has anything to do with it, except for obviously being the voice of Peter. The main thing he does nowadays is he, like... I think he directs it, but he's the main character on this, like, Star Trek clone. But it's, like... Ironically, like... I don't know what the word is. It's, like... It's like a farce of Star Trek, but also sometimes it's serious, and I'm just like, then be Star Trek.
I actually watched like half an episode of that, and it's Star Trek if there were my balls itch jokes.
It's just like, I'm just like, of all things, like, and it's like on its 2nd season, and he's just like, you know what? I'm done with Family... And that's fine. Like, you don't want to work on something for a million years, so it's like season 15 or whatever of Family Guy, he's like, I'm done, right? Like, that's fine. But then he's like, the thing that he segues to is like, by the way... Oh my god, this one. Good lord. He's like, by the way, I'm doing this Star Trek thing.
Hello? Okay.
Do you have to kill that thing? Like, the you know that movie he did where it's like, I forget what it's called, but it's like a Western, and like it has like an all-star cast of people, and it just ended, like, no one liked it, because it's just like, hey, look at this, another super silly, over-the-top Western with butt jokes.
I mean, I could see Seth MacFarlane becoming the next Adam Sandler, where he, like, has a bunch of friends with comedians, and, like, they're just like, hey, let's make a movie, it'll be fun, let's go on vacation. And then they make just a terrible movie, but everyone likes Seth, just because it's like, oh, good fat paycheck.
The crazy thing about Adam Sandler stuff is, like, so there's some people where everything they make is amazing, and some people everything is terrible. But, like, Adam Sandler, 9 out of 10 things will be truly, like, I'll watch them and I like them because I like bad things, but, they're objectively terrible. Like, Grown Ups is objectively bad, even though I like stupid stuff like that. Like, it's fine. You know, you're allowed to like bad stuff. But, like, every 10th thing he does is like, unbelievably genius. Like, it's so crazy.
Where did this fairy come from?
That was weird.
Okay. Can you just, like, do, like, powder on the stone?
I have no idea. That's weird. Was it from beating an enemy?
I don't think so.
But it's like, Click is actually, like, a good movie. And it's, like, weird because you would think, like...
you can say it's a movie you liked.
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. But, like, Punch Drunk Love is, like, a literal, like, really... Like, it's like a film. Like, people would consider it, like, a film. And it's weird coming from the dude who made also Jack and Jill. It's just, like, I'm so confused. Or, like, even, like, 50 First Dates is, like, not bad. It's, like, cliched, but, like, kind of good and whatever. It's just, like, so weird. But then again, Seth MacFarlane, like, Family Guy was pretty good for a while, and American Dad was almost always good. And then he's just like, all the movies I make are gonna be the worst. It's like, cool.
Yeah. I also have not rewatched the first, 4 seasons of Family Guy in a long time. I might, rewatch them and be like, eh.
I could see that. Unlike Simpsons, where it will always, the first 10, 12 seasons are so good.
For me, it's the first 8 seasons, but still, that's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, I mean, 9 is, like, not as good, but it still has some brilliant stuff, and, like, I'm still under... I will still say 10, 11, and 12 are, like, clearly a drop-off, but it's like a drop-off from amazing to pretty good is, like, still pretty damn good. Like,
what's the, what season is it for when, Seymour explains that he's, like, a body double?
You mean Armin Tanzarian?
Yeah.
That one? It's probably like 9.
Yeah, I think that's like
Might be 8.
the
It might be
episode.
8.
I think that's 9. I don't think it's 8. But I think that's the one episode where I'm like, what were they thinking?
I definitely understand where you're coming from. I like the episode, but it's also like, what? Like it's
I mean, you have 8 seasons of this character where you're like, this character is cool, and then
but then they forget about it forever.
Yeah.
Like they like never mention it again. So it was just like, guys, if you needed an episode that bad, just do another clip show. Like if you were like, we're going on break.
Here we go, bros.
And we're out based.
Ooh.
If they're like, we need episode 23 of the season. And the writers are on strike. What do we do? It's like, okay. Just make another clip show. Even that's the crazy part about Prime Simpsons. Even the clip shows were amazing. Like the Simpsons 138th episode spectacular is like brilliant, and it's like what? I don't know. I find that to be so crazy.
They tried, and they were talented.
Yep, they tried.
They're good writers.
And they had Phil Hartman. And, yep. Now, it's 2019, and Simpsons still exists.
Sure does.
It still runs. You might be saying, huh? And here's the craziest part. It is the #1 money laundering scheme in the world. That's my thing, by the way.
Can you voice act in this terrible episode no one will watch? Sure, just give me a $1 million paycheck.
Every single time I can't figure out how something makes money, I'm just like, money laundering scheme. And you know what? I bet I'm right like 5% of the time. And you're like, hey, does anyone watch Simpsons? Because like already so many people don't watch TV, right? They like watch them when they're on Hulu or whatever, so it's like, okay, Eric, the biggest Simpsons fan I know. Eric, do you still watch New Simpsons? Once in a while. It's like, wow, at that point, no one watches Simpsons. And even though it's made cheaply by like whatever, like, I think it's made in like Korea or whatever for like the animation or whatever, you're still paying the voice actor several $1 million an episode. And then it's like, all right, we made money. It's like, I don't get it. So therefore, money laundering scheme.
Money laundering.
Every time I'm on Netflix, I'm like, I want to rewatch Breaking Bad. But then I'm like, it's like 6 long seasons long, you know?
I feel one I've never seen Breaking Bread.
Brad!
And,
Breaking Canal.
do I need to go through this door? I think I do.
It's so good. And it's funny because each part of it feels like almost its own separate show. Like it starts off so goofy, and by the end you're like, uh-oh. Like everything is so serious by the end. It's a great show.
I should probably watch that.
The one that Parker hates that like I mentioned is
Yoink.
like, I watched all of Lost. I watched every episode of Lost. And I didn't watch that when it was first out, so people who apparently watched it when it was first out like hate it because Lost, the publishers or the developers or whatever like lied about everything. Everything. They were like, we're gonna answer this, and they never did. So me watching it on Netflix and be able to just like do it like an episode at a time, like I was like, you know, it falls apart, but like whatever, it's a pretty good pretty good show. And like sometimes I'm like, I want to rewatch it. And Parker like gets mad, like actually mad. He's like, why would you rewatch it? You already watched it once. And I'm like, I don't know, I think, whatever. And he's just like, it's just funny because he watched it when it was first out.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things where like the ending makes every single event like not matter anymore.
Incorrect.
I've never watched this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The thing that people say that happens is not true because they're actual plebs. Do you need to...
Yeah, I have to go up and push a block that I needed to have the blue blocks down. And the way that this thing is designed is that since it has those red blocks, I'm going to have to go all around because you can't do the right blocks. And there's a hidden key here that when I was redoing this dungeon,
Wow.
I had no idea it was there. And I was like, where is the key?
This is something. Dude, you might get this game done in 3 sit-downs.
I think I will, yeah.
That's crazy. I never would have guessed. I mean, your overall gameplay, I mean, assuming you do, like, a little, like...
I mean, I know what I'm doing. Not this, like, literal second, but, yeah, like, if you know what you're doing, this game's not very long.
So there's... This is the 5th dungeon, right?
Yeah.
So there's 1, 2, 3...
There's 2 more dungeons and then Ganon's Castle and we're done.
Oh, I'm just trying to think of how many heart pieces are left. So there's 4 hearts you get via heart pieces. Right? Yeah, because you get 3 more hearts normally.
It's either 9 more heart pieces or 13 more. I'm not sure.
Do you get a heart piece for beating Ganon's castle?
No.
That's the question of the part.
Or do you? I forget. Because you don't fight the final boss right there.
No, you don't.
You fight
Yeah.
the pyramid.
Intriguing. Oh my god, this is so good. I'm just glad I don't have to do this garbage.
I like this dungeon. It is confusing and it can be annoying.
Oh,
if
you
don't know
literally...
where you're
That's the one you have to push?
going. Yeah.
Why?
Because you can only move the block once, and that's the only one that gets 1 block away.
Oh, dude, that's so...
If you have the Cane of Samaria, or whatever it's called, you can just cheese this entire dungeon, but...
Where do you get that?
You get it from some random cave somewhere.
Huh.
But, yeah, I like doing this dungeon, like, actually. A lot of people hate this dungeon, like, a lot, and I don't exactly know why.
I specifically remember hating it and thinking it was very difficult.
But we're done.
It's also, like, the deepest dungeon that I can think of.
Oh, yeah, it's like 7 floors.
Do you have any, fairies?
Yeah, I have, like, 3.
Oh, nice.
Or 2. And this one's not hard.
I mean, it hurt you, but his attack is like, hey, stop that. I'll drop ice on you.
He does break into 3 things. And I probably will die. I mean, I'm not saying that it's the easiest thing in the world.
Well, especially when it takes 2 freaking...
Yeah, if you didn't have double defense, I just imagine doing this.
Wait, what was double defense? When did you get that?
That was the dungeon item of this dungeon.
Oh!
You see my blue tube?
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I can only imagine doing an initial heart and no defense.
Oh my
run.
god. 2 hits. That's what you would
No,
have.
you would die in 1 hit.
Why? You have 3 hearts.
Yeah, but like this boss would kill you in 1 hit because you're doing 2 hearts of damage.
Oh,
when
he
you
still
have
does? He still does 2 hearts of damage?
It's either 2 hearts or a heart and a half.
Wow. Yeah, that's... I'm sure people have obviously done it, but that's tough. Based. Yeah, that's not bad. You'll be able to beat it next time. So that's the 5th. You have 2 more normal dungeons and then Ganon's dungeon, plus all the extra... There's not a lot of more side quest stuff you have to do, I don't think. Couple items.
I actually don't know where all the heart pieces are, so I'm gonna have to figure out like a route for that. And honestly, I might not even do it anyway.
You should, though.
I guess.
That's what I said when I made the playlist. I said, gonna be 100% run.
Alright, I'll be 100% then.
Jod. 7 wise men. I love that in Ocarina. You don't have to read a single one of the normal words, but all the highlighted words you just read and you know the story. Ganondorf, Prince of Thieves.
Like the plot's complicated at all. Ganon, Triforce, the goddesses.
Triforce, land, Hero of Light? No.
Hero of Time.
Hero of Time. Hero of Light is Final Fantasy. Is that it? See you next time!
See ya!
With no Ben or Parker. It'll probably just be us again. Enjoy.
Oh yeah.